Right now, somewhere beneath your feet, a machine is gliding through total darkness. 300 feet down, maybe 800, maybe deeper. You can't see it. You can't hear it. You can't stop it. Inside that steel tube, 130 sailors, living in a space smaller than a high school, breathing recycled air, eating the same meals for months. And in the missile tubes, 24 nuclear warheads, each one powerful enough to vaporize a city. One submarine, 192 nuclear weapons, enough to end civilization as we know it. This is not science fiction. This is reality. Right now, there are dozens of these machines prowling the oceans, silent, invisible, waiting. Submarines aren't just military weapons. They're the stuff of nightmares. Today, we're going into the deep to understand why submarines are the scariest machines ever built. Title card: Why submarines are the scariest machines ever built. Let's start with where submarines operate. Pause the most hostile environment on Earth. The pressure. At 300 feet underwater, a shallow depth for military submarines, the pressure is 130 pounds per square inch. That's like having a 300-pound weight pressing on every square inch of your body. At 800 feet, the operational depth of modern attack submarines, the pressure is 346 psi. A human body exposed to that pressure? Instant death. Crushed like a tin can. And submarines go deeper. Much deeper. The deepest diving military submarines, like Russia's Thresher, can reach 20,000 feet. At that depth, the pressure is 8,800 psi. The ocean wants to compress everything into oblivion. The darkness. Below 650 feet, there is no light. None. You're in a realm of eternal darkness. No sun has ever reached these depths. The submarine's running lights are the only illumination for miles. When those lights go out during silent running, it's total, absolute darkness. The cold. Deep ocean water hovers around 35 to 39 degrees Fahrenheit, just above freezing. If the hull breaches and water floods in, you have seconds before hypothermia begins. The isolation. The ocean is vast, empty, alien. You're operating in a three-dimensional battlefield with no reference points, no landmarks, no horizon, just endless water above, below, and around you. The inescapability. Here's the terrifying part. If something goes wrong, a fire, a flood, a reactor failure, you can't just open a door and step outside. There is no outside. You're trapped in a steel cylinder, surrounded by an environment that will kill you instantly. Your only escape is up. And if the submarine is sinking, if systems are failing, if compartments are flooding, there is no rescue, no lifeguard, no 911. You survive or you die, with your crew entombed in steel, in the dark, forever. The reality. Since 1900, over 200 submarines have been lost at sea. Thousands of sailors, entombed in their boats, still lie on the ocean floor. USS Thresher, USS Scorpion, HMS Afraid, Soviet K-141 Kursk, Argentine ARA San Juan. The ocean has claimed them all, and every submariner knows. One day, it could be them. Imagine living in a space the size of a tour bus with 130 other people for 6 months. Welcome to life inside a submarine. The space. A Virginia-class attack submarine is 377 feet long. Sounds big, right? But most of that length is hull structure, machinery, weapons, ballast tanks. The actual living space? About 15,000 square feet for 130-plus sailors. That's 115 square feet per person. Less than a prison cell. The berthing. You sleep in a rack, a bunk bed stacked 3 high, sometimes 4. Your personal space, 6 feet long, 2 feet wide, 2 feet tall. A coffin, literally. Submariners call them coffin racks. You have a thin curtain for privacy, a small locker for belongings. That's it. And you share that space with 50 other sailors in the same compartment, snoring, shifting, breathing your air. The passageways, the corridors, called P-ways, are 2 to 3 feet wide, barely shoulder width. Sailors constantly squeeze past each other. "Make a hole," is the most common phrase on a submarine. Pipes run along the ceiling. You duck constantly. Hit your head constantly. Claustrophobia is real, and there's no way to escape it. The lack of privacy. You shower with other people. 90 seconds of water. Communal. You use the bathroom, the head, in rows of toilets. No stalls on some older boats. You eat elbow to elbow at narrow tables. You work in control rooms where you can't stretch your arms without hitting someone. Privacy? It doesn't exist. The monotony. Every day is the same. Same walls, same ceiling, same faces, same smells. No windows, no sunlight, no fresh air. You lose track of time. Days blur together. Some submarines keep artificial day-night lighting to maintain circadian rhythms. But your body knows you're living in a metal tube, underground, for months. The psychological toll. Submariners have the highest rates of psychological stress in the Navy. Depression, anxiety, cabin fever. Some sailors crack. They call it going submarine crazy. One former submariner described it. It's like being buried alive, except you're still working, still functioning, but part of your brain is screaming to get out. The no-quit policy. And here's the worst part. Once you're underway, you can't leave. You can't call in sick, can't take a mental health day, can't request a transfer. You're committed for the entire deployment. If you break down psychologically, the corpsman sedates you, the crew watches you, and you ride it out. Because the mission doesn't stop for one sailor's sanity. Submarines hunt, and they are hunted. And the key to survival? Silence. Silent running. When a submarine goes into stealth mode, silent running, everything stops. The crew speaks in whispers. Footsteps are soft. Equipment is shut down. Non-essential machinery is turned off. The submarine drifts with the current, propeller barely turning. The only sound, the faint hum of life support. The beating of your own heart. The hunter and the hunted. You're listening. Through passive sonar, hydrophones detect sounds from miles away. The creaking of another submarine's hull. The faint whir of a propeller. The click of a torpedo tube door opening. And they're listening for you. If you make noise, drop a wrench, slam a hatch, let machinery vibrate. You're detected. And detection means death. The psychological terror. Imagine this. You're on sonar watch, headphones on, listening. Suddenly, you hear it. Faint, rhythmic, a propeller, closing. You report, sonar contact, bearing 090. Possible submarine, range unknown, closing. The entire boat goes silent. Battle stations, weapons armed. You track the contact. It's getting louder, closer. Is it hostile? Is it tracking you? Does it know you're here? Minutes pass, maybe hours. You hold your breath, waiting. And then, the contact fades, moves away. You exhale, safe for now. The invisibility. Modern submarines are invisible. Russian Akula class, American Virginia class. They're quieter than ambient ocean noise. You can't see them, can't hear them, can't track them. They sit in choke points, straits, sea lanes, near ports, listening, waiting, and you never know they're there until it's too late. The weapon that announces itself. Surface ships make noise. Planes are visible on radar. Tanks leave tracks, but submarines? Silent, invisible, unknowable. The first sign of a submarine attack is often the last thing you hear: a torpedo in the water. The fear factor. During the Cold War, NATO admirals admitted, "We have no effective defense against Soviet submarines." Today, the same is true. If a submarine wants to sink your ship, it probably will. If a submarine wants to launch a missile, you won't see it coming. The ocean is their domain, and you're just visiting. But the true terror of submarines isn't their stealth. It's what they carry. The nuclear arsenal. An Ohio-class ballistic missile submarine carries 24 Trident II-D, or 5 missiles. Each missile carries 8 to 12 nuclear warheads. That's up to 288 nuclear warheads on one submarine. One boat. Enough firepower to destroy 288 cities. Kill hundreds of millions. Trigger nuclear winter. The delivery system. These missiles have a range of 7,500 plus miles. A submarine in the Pacific can strike Moscow. A submarine in the Atlantic can hit Beijing. And the missiles are accurate to within a few hundred feet. Launch to impact, 30 minutes. The second strike capability. Here's why submarines are the ultimate nuclear weapon. If an enemy launches a surprise nuclear attack and destroys your missile silos, your bomber bases, your command centers, your submarines survive. They're hidden, undetectable, scattered across the world's oceans, and they retaliate. It's called assured second strike, and it's the foundation of nuclear deterrence. You can't destroy a nation's submarine fleet. You can't stop them from launching. You can't win, so nobody attacks, because everyone loses. The apocalypse boats. Submariners call ballistic missile submarines boomers, but there's a darker nickname: doomsday boats. Because if they ever fire their missiles in anger, the world ends. The crew's burden. Imagine being a missile officer on a boomer. You carry the launch codes. You stand watch over the missiles. And you know, if the order comes, you will turn those keys. You will launch nuclear weapons. You will kill millions. And you train for it, drill for it, prepare for it. One former officer described it. You hope the order never comes, but you know if it does, you'll follow it, because that's the job. The conventional threat. But ballistic missile submarines aren't the only threat. Attack submarines carry Tomahawk cruise missiles, precision-guided weapons that can strike land targets 1,000 plus miles away. And torpedoes, Mark 48 ADCAP torpedoes that can sink any surface ship with a single hit. A single Virginia-class submarine can launch dozens of Tomahawk missiles at enemy infrastructure, sink an entire carrier battle group, deploy Navy SEALs for covert operations, lay mines in enemy harbors. One submarine, unlimited options, unstoppable, the existential dread. Here's the scariest part. Right now, there are approximately 140 submarines in active service worldwide. 40 of them are ballistic missile submarines, carrying thousands of nuclear warheads. And you don't know where they are. Russia has 10 boomers. China has 6. France, UK, India all have nuclear submarines at sea. Silent, hidden, armed, waiting for an order that, God willing, never comes. But perhaps the most terrifying aspect of submarines is this. Then things go wrong. Everyone dies. USS Thresher, April 10, 1963. USS Thresher, a nuclear attack submarine, was conducting deep diving tests off Cape Cod. At 9:13 a.m., the submarine radioed the surface ship, experiencing minor difficulties, attempting to blow. That was the last communication. The submarine sank past crush depth. The hull imploded. 129 sailors, Officers, enlisted, civilian technicians died instantly. The wreckage was found in 6 pieces, scattered across the ocean floor at 8,400 feet. The cause? A piping failure, a small leak. Salt water sprayed onto electrical panels. Systems failed. The crew tried to blow ballast tanks and surface, but ice formed in the valves. The air wouldn't release. The submarine tilted nose down, plunged deeper. At 2,400 feet, crush depth, the pressure hull collapsed. It took less than a second. The sailors never knew what hit them. USS Scorpion, May 22, 1968. 5 years later, USS Scorpion disappeared in the Atlantic. Last known position, 400 miles southwest of the Azores. The submarine failed to report for scheduled radio checks. Search operations began. 6 months later, Navy deep-sea cameras found the wreckage, 10,000 feet down. 99 sailors lost. Cause of sinking? Still debated. Possible torpedo malfunction, possible hull failure. Nobody knows, because everyone died. Soviet K-141, Kursk, August 12, 2000. Russia's most advanced submarine, pride of the fleet. During a naval exercise, an explosion ripped through the forward torpedo room. A massive second explosion followed, equivalent to 2 to 7 tons of TNT. The submarine sank to the bottom of the Barents Sea, 350 feet down. Here's the horror. 23 sailors survived the initial explosion. They retreated to the aft compartment, sailed the hatches, waited for rescue. Russian rescue efforts were chaotic. Equipment failed, political delays, international help was refused for days. By the time rescuers cut into the submarine, all 23 were dead, suffocated, in the dark. One sailor left a note. All personnel from compartments 6, 7, and 8 moved to compartment 9. There are 23 people here. None of us can get to the surface. It was dated 2 hours after the sinking. They waited, hoped, and died. Ara San Juan, November 15, 2017. Argentine submarine. 44 crew members. Reported an electrical fire. Last communication. Battery short circuit. Submersion. Then, silence. 1 year later, the wreck was found. 3,000 feet down, imploded. All 44 dead. The pattern. In every submarine disaster, the pattern is the same. Something goes wrong. Systems fail. The crew fights, and the ocean wins. There is no dramatic escape, no last-minute rescue, no miracle survival. Just silence, darkness, and death. The submariner's knowledge. Every sailor who steps aboard a submarine knows the risk. They know the statistics. They know the lost boats. They know their names. And they go anyway, because someone has to. But the fear is always there, lurking beneath the surface. But you don't have to die for a submarine to break you. The psychological burden of submarine service is immense. The isolation. Months without sunlight, without fresh air, without seeing your family. No phone calls, limited email, sporadic mail. You miss births, weddings, funerals, holidays. Life moves on without you, and you're powerless to be part of it. The responsibility. If you're a sonar operator, lives depend on your ears. If you're a missile officer, you hold nuclear launch codes. If you're a reactor operator, one mistake could cause a meltdown. The weight of that responsibility, day after day, month after month, crushes some people. The boredom. Submarine operations are 90% boredom, 10% terror. You stand watch for hours, staring at screens, listening to nothing, waiting for something to happen. And when something does happen, an emergency drill, a contact, a system failure, you have seconds to respond perfectly. The breakdowns. Some sailors break. panic attacks in berthing, meltdowns during watch, suicidal thoughts. The Navy screens heavily for mental fitness, psychological evaluations, constant monitoring. But you can't predict who will break, or when. The Submariner's creed. And yet, Submariners continue to volunteer. They take pride in their service, in being part of the silent service. They earn their dolphins, the submarine warfare insignia, and wear them with honor. Because they know, pause, what they do keeps the world safe, but it costs them, psychologically, emotionally, personally, and that burden is part of why submarines are so terrifying. Not just as weapons, but as experiences. From a military strategy perspective, submarines are a nightmare. Unstoppable. Modern anti-submarine warfare, ASW, is incredibly difficult. You use sonar buoys dropped from aircraft surface ships with towed arrays, submarines hunting submarines, satellite surveillance of thermal wakes, and still, submarines slip through. The cat and mouse game. During the Cold War, US and Soviet submarines played a deadly game. Soviet boomers would leave port. US attack subs would track them for months, silently following, close enough to torpedo, waiting for war. If war came, the attack sub would destroy the boomer before it could launch. But the game was risky. One mistake, one detection, and you're the target. The modern threat. Today, China is building submarines at an alarming rate. Russia's newest subs, like the Yasin class, are as quiet as American boats. North Korea operates diesel submarines that can strike South Korea or Japan. The submarine threat is global, persistent, undetectable. The Admiral's fear. A U.S. Navy admiral once said, "There are two types of ships, submarines and targets. No matter how advanced your aircraft carrier, your destroyer, your battleship, a submarine can sink it, and you'll never see it coming." So why are submarines the scariest machines ever built? Because they combine every primal fear humans have. The fear of drowning, of crushing pressure, of darkness, of confinement, the fear of being hunted, of dying slowly, trapped, helpless, and the ultimate fear, the power to end the world. The reality. Right now, as you listen to this, submarines are patrolling the oceans, silent, invisible, armed. Some are attack submarines, hunting enemy ships, gathering intelligence. Others are ballistic missile submarines, carrying nuclear warheads, maintaining the deterrent. You don't see them, you don't hear them, but they're there. The crews, and inside those steel tubes, sailors are standing watch, living in darkness, breathing recycled air, sleeping in coffin racks, carrying the burden of responsibility, the weight of isolation, knowing that their boat could be the difference between peace and war. The paradox. Here's the paradox. Submarines terrify us, but they also protect us. The nuclear deterrent, mutually assured destruction, has prevented World War III for 80 years. Submarines keep sea lanes open, track enemy fleets, provide strategic advantage. They're terrifying, but they're necessary. The eternal truth. Jules Verne wrote about submarines in 1870. Captain Nemo's Nautilus, a vessel of wonder and terror. He understood. There's something deeply unsettling about machines that operate beneath the waves, out of sight, beyond reach, unknowable. Over 150 years later, that fear hasn't diminished. If anything, it's grown. Because modern submarines are more capable, more deadly, more invisible than Verne ever imagined. The ocean covers 70% of our planet. And beneath those waves, in the cold darkness, submarines prowl. Silent hunters, doomsday boats, machines of war and deterrence. They're out there right now, And that is why submarines are the scariest machines ever built.